Hello to you all, and welcome to Pyramid Energy. Today I feel like doing a more free-form reading. I'm interested what will come of it, given that you already know from the blurb on the screen. As a start, I get a strong sense that you could really do with more freedom in your life, hence a free-form reading. I do feel like lately we've been dealing with a lot of self-imposed constraints, okay? So the way that you've done something, perhaps in certain cases you've got comfortable doing things in that way. I'm also getting a sense of something that you have left buried for a long time, okay? This is something that was born, let's say, during the earlier stage of your awakening, or what you would consider to be the beginning of your awakening. Okay, I feel like you're really close to that vision now. I feel like that vision is literally a touch away. In a sense, it feels like it is one move away. Do you know what I mean? And so I feel like I'm here today to nudge you closer to the edge. There's also a strong sense coming through around redefining who you are, okay? Redefining who you are into a form that is more free, into a form that doesn't have to stick to what it initially presented itself as, okay? And so this requires you to exercise your freedom. And in doing so, you will be showing this new environment, okay, however this resonates with you, showing it, teaching it that it doesn't have to confine itself. Often when we are in the process of creating our lives and going about our work and our purpose, we can tend to feel confined to certain limits simply because the place that we are working with and working in has confined itself. And so your role here is to actually break barriers and not to ever again present yourself as, this is who I am. This is what I am. You are going to let your presence define what that means. And your presence is actually going to define what that means in the moment and in an individual way to each person or place that's receiving you. And so while this might feel like you're using your own license to be free, in your presence, you'll actually be sharing with each person and place a license for them to be free. You're entering an interesting space. You're entering an exciting space. What I mean by this is you are going to be making many more smaller moves than before. You used to confine yourself to some kind of predetermined structure, okay, something you had to have complete before you release it. Whereas now, you're going to be sort of just taking one step at a time in the direction you want to move in. Okay, and so the second step is only defined after the first one. And each subsequent step is released with each step. This is what's exciting because your space remains open. Okay, your path remains open. And you're going to be exercising your freedom in a way that is able to create things that you could not create while you still thought things had to happen the way you did. I have the Queen of Cups here. And I also had 444 on the clock. This Queen of Cups has this very elaborate cup of love that she has to offer. She reads into the cup, okay, and the cup becomes what it needs to become wherever she is. Okay, if you look at her, she's sitting on her throne. And so this is a woman who can feel into the moment and what it needs. The card that's underneath the deck here is the Three of Cups. Okay, this feels like whatever community you expose yourself to and expose your heart to. Okay, there's something very much coming up about the kind of love that you're able to reveal and share in various spaces. This is a dynamic kind of love. Okay, it's a love that is able to change form according to what the needs of the space or the day or the time are. Okay, and there's a certain confidence that you're going to be carrying in these spaces. And I believe that's actually why we touched on what I said earlier about not having anything predetermined, so that you can actually give your fullest type of love in each space. We can tend to think that when we are preparing, let's say, for a space, that we need to know what we're going to give them. However, you have been living your life and going through your days and the things that you do, needing to move in the dark. Okay? And so the only thing that is certain to you now, as you prepare to reveal yourself into this space, the only thing you need to prepare is the knowledge that you can do it. You can do it and you can create on the spot. Okay, for whatever the needs are. The space is also formed through a mutual understanding. I mean that when you bring yourself, you are not bringing yourself as a leader. You're bringing yourself as a member of the community. You're bringing yourself as someone who is doing something that cannot be done without community. And so this is like mutually beneficial. The more you hold space, the more space there is to hold. The more you hold space, the more space is created to hold. The people that you convene with will be able to sense this. They'll also be able to appreciate what it is they bring. Okay, for a long time, healing spaces have felt like they are led by the space holder for a very long time. Whereas you're moving through a time, as a collective, we are moving through a time where each participant in the space, in the container, needs to feel like they are bringing value. They need to feel that sense that they too are holding a cup, that their cup is worth something, and that, you know, that's something that they're going to leave the space with, that they're going to leave the container with long after you all part physically. They're going to leave with a greater sense of value about themselves and a greater ability, okay, an untapped ability to hold space for others. This is a space of transference. It's a space of transferring love amongst one another. There's this song coming up, Teach You How to Love. It's, I think it's I forgot his name. He's a rapper. But the energy it's giving me is, you know, I want to teach you how to love. But in order for me to teach you how to love, not only do you need to allow me to love you, I need to have someone to love in order to teach you how to love. I need you, you need me. This is not a sense of codependency. It's a space of learning how to love, okay, through connection, okay, and through getting to understand the reliability of love. The number I have on the screen is 943434, which if you listen to yesterday's reading, I had 941414. So it's as if the 3 is being replaced with a 1. The 1 is replacing the 3. And so this is really you breaking out, revealing yourself and all the love that you have to give and what you are able to bring into a space and what you're able to bring out of a space. I also keep getting this strong sense that the time of you doing things alone is done. But in order for you to explore this space and to be able to enjoy this space, you need to remember, okay, this part of yourself that really once yearned for this type of connection. The part of yourself that's really yearned for community, okay? For what you have to bring to really feel into the love and not feel like you are pushing people into loving you, okay? Because you have a strong understanding of how much love you actually hold. This is a contagious love, okay? It is undeniable. And there is something else that's developed in your aura, which is able to release resistance out of others. Communities can sometimes feel like they hold a sense of resistance, okay? And like you have to break barriers and break down walls and convince. Whereas your love energy does all of its own work. This is very much bringing forward the idea that you need to allow it to do its own work. You're not responsible for everything. Believe in the love that others have to share. Believe in the love that is in your aura and emanates out of your aura and your field. Believe that you're a channel that is actually just required to be present in order for the channel to do its work and in order for the field to do its work. There's something else that we need to become more confident about, and it's around how much actually happens in the field and that the space is actually held before you physically arrive into it. And so the space has already been created. They're showing me a space that is already forming through the wishes and desires of others, through the needs of others, the need of others to hold space. Okay? So this space is already being created. In a sense, you're a facilitator. They're wanting you to see yourself more as a facilitator than a leader of a space. And so while lots of language has been used around holding space, you're no longer holding it alone. Okay, the space is held. I'm also seeing opening of throats. I'm seeing opening of crowns, and I'm seeing opening of third eye and heart. I'm seeing a lot of the work happening from the heart chakra and opening all of these spaces in the upper areas of the chakra system. This is going to be an activating experience. I don't know if the person listening to me right now, whether you are a seasoned space holder or not. What I'm talking through here, I'm speaking to, yes, a seasoned space holder. Okay, so this is going to be a new experience for you. I'm also speaking to the person who's listening, who isn't used to referring to themselves as a space holder. Okay, your life is going to change. You're going to notice the shift in your life. You're going to notice it not through physically designing spaces where you need to bring people together. Okay, it's not so much like that. It does apply to the other more traditional way of looking at holding space, but this is more around who you're becoming in your environment. How you exchange words, thoughts, and feelings. Your conversations are going to start shifting. The reason that this is shifting is through your own realization, which is opening the door, but it's actually also shifting because of other people's readiness. I feel like when you first saw yourself moving in spaces like this, people were very closed. They felt very closed. So much has changed. Another thing that's coming through is that thoughts are very powerful, okay? They can either keep us trapped in loops of questions that don't change, or, okay, and now we're speaking to the more empowerment side of thought, the more empowering side of thought, is that each thought that moves through the cycle of thinking has an offering, okay? Each thought can be unlocked. And so it's as if within these spaces, what you will be doing is transforming thoughts into opportunities for healing, transforming thoughts into love, okay? They're showing me the water cycle, how what appears as air, okay, thought energy, what appears as air actually has water in it. And when this water encounters a container, and hot air starts to rise, this condensation happens. Now, I hope I don't get the water cycle wrong, but they're showing me how this, these little droplets of almost invisible water, when given a container, they gather and the water starts to form. So this is very much a story of creating love through community and space held. Your experience in your work is about to shift. They're telling me that it's already shifting. And the reason why we're sharing this is for you to have that nudge, that courage, that you can facilitate this space. Okay, you can be you're a facilitator, and you're not doing it alone. On other people's parts, this may be a very unconscious process, but when they encounter you, they will know that the space is safe, and they will know what to bring into it. This is through, your ability to disintegrate these barriers and this resistance. Your field's ability to do that is what's going to open up their throats so that they can share what's on their mind. Okay? Whether it's a question or a thought or a worry. Where that is stuck, it's going to make its presence known in the room in a way that you are able to think it, know it, and transform it into the words that further help to maneuver these thoughts out of their throats. They're going to leave with an ability to communicate that was stuck before the space was held. But instead of feeling like you brought a medicine, you brought an ointment, you brought a solution that's no longer going to be available to them after you part, they're going to realize that this ability was already inside of them, and they just needed the space to be able to see it. They needed it illuminated to them. You're bringing your mirror. You're bringing your mirror, one where you will be able to see so much more of yourself through them, and they will be able to see themselves through you. All a mirror asks for is to be held up, your presence. I asked how, and I heard it just needs one invitation. They are simplifying this as one invitation to help you clear up any elaborate ideas that have led to you feeling stifled. They're saying one invitation. Okay? This invitation could be you and one other person. This invitation could be you and opening it up to a whole lot of other people. They're just saying all it's going to take is one invitation. They're also saying don't rush. Don't rush this process of the invitation. When you rush the process of the invitation, what immediately happens afterwards is that you immediately get your shoulders all tight and you feel like you've got to carry the space for everyone. Okay? Like it's your role, your job to make this successful. So they're saying don't rush it. And they're saying that the invitation applies to them, but it also applies to you. They're saying be more mindful because this opportunity is going to come up. And when it comes up, it just needs you to be present so that you can notice you are being invited, they are being invited. And then you can facilitate it from there. So they're saying don't go out searching and scratching around to find it. They're saying it's going to find you. And they want you to be able to recognize it when it finds you. This opportunity is coming. This opportunity is coming. Okay? When they say that you do not have to do this alone, they mean absolutely everything. You do not have to do it alone. You don't even have to find the place and the space and the style and the stuff. You don't have to do all of that. As soon as the invitation arrives, you will know what to do with it. And they're saying, front of mind, they want you to remember, number 1, presence, and number 2, you are not expected to do this alone. As soon as you find yourself feeling like this is something you need to do alone, they're saying it's not the thing. It's not the thing. And so very much, I'm soon going to close this container. I really want you to leave with the idea that this space, this opportunity is going to arrive. It is just going to show up. The context is what you need to not limit. Okay? It could very well be just a way of life, but I'm picturing it as an invitation, an unconscious invitation. Your field is what will make it conscious. Okay, and then your throat will open and then you will speak and then you will start to visualize and be able to see the next steps. So they only want you to stay open. And the reason for this was so that you do not miss this opportunity. If you were to miss this opportunity, we wouldn't consider this a missed opportunity. They're explaining to me that this is something that you want. This is something that you want and it has reawakened within you, this want. And so they're saying it's coming. It's on its way. We just want you to be in your state of mindfulness and openness so that you know how to see and know when that invitation is arriving and has arrived. I'm going to close this one here. Thank you all so much for bringing your energy. I appreciate it so much. It is literally what I read out of. When I don't create containers, I don't get such dynamic information. I sometimes ask myself whether this is just something I'm telling myself. But then when I consider the truth, I know it's true and it's not just a self-limiting belief. And the reason it is true is because so much of my work is born out of just wanting to nurture this wonder that comes from connection. And it just would not make sense for me to channel all these messages without anyone to share them with. This bread which we break, is it not a sharing of the body of Christ? That just came up for me. Should you wish to support the channel and can, you are so welcome. I've left details in the description box below on how. Should you feel called to do a personal reading with me, you will know. I've left details on my email address and the price below. Sending you all so much love.